Talk. We are live here in LA. Thank y'all for joining. If you're in the chat room, say what's up. I need you in the chat room to know if you hear me. Holler if you hear me in the chat room. We are here live in Southern California. Thank y'all for tuning in. Tonight we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about a little bit more about what we talked about last week, reparations. But we're really about to get into the power that we have as Black people. What's up, Brother Jermaine? Thank you for tuning in. Much respect to you. What's up, Osby? Mr. Crump himself. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about tonight. But one thing I want to talk about, it's a few things we're going to talk about, but one of the main things I really want to get into tonight is the power that we have as Black people, and how if we look at what's going on, white supremacy is crumbling. It's crumbling around us as we speak. It's not something that's going to fall on its own. It's crumbling because we put just a little bit of pressure on it so far. It's been less than 3 weeks of not even full-on civil unrest. Just, us saying we tired of this shit. And within 3 weeks of that, we have the politicians crumbling and offering us things. This goes out to the people who said, "You ain't gonna get no reparations. That ain't never gonna happen." Well, look, it's happening. And when we talk about reparations isn't just a one-time payment. Reparations isn't something that we saying, okay, we're going to get this thing this one time and that's it. No. Reparations is a long list of programs. Long list. And this is just a start. You dig? Hotepish.com. Get your merchandise, get your apparel. We got some t-shirts. Support Black business. Back to it. But if we see here, it's a lot going on, You right? What up, David Benner? Yeah, we just now getting started. Hotepish.com. I'm here by myself tonight. I'm doing this B1 style. We about to go and get into it because I have a lot of things that I'm going to back up what I say tonight. Y'all know me. I don't just be talking shit. I back up what I say. So let's get up into this. We can start off with what you have on your screen tonight being one of the biggest indicators that that this shit's crumbling all around us. Joe Biden, presidential candidate, is saying that he now is talking about reparations. Is he really going to give reparations to us? Hell no. I don't trust no damn Joe Biden. But it's in the political conversation. In 4 years of Trump so far, everyone's been saying, we don't want Trump. Trump is going to be the worst thing. And I agree, Trump ain't shit. But he's been so bad, the other side is like, okay, what do you niggas want to get us some votes? We might have to actually talk about this reparations thing. And we know they got the money because they just handed out, what, $10 trillion? $10 $10 trillion they just handed out. So you know they got the money to do it. But let's go into this article a little bit. Joe Biden wants to see studies about the feasibility of reparations. You know what that means? That means he don't want to give us shit. What's up, Amir? In the chat room. Anytime they talk about studying feasibilities, that's just saying, vote for me, get me in office, and I promise you, wink, wink, that I'm going to do something once I get in. Double wink, wink. So we know off the top, Joe Biden's not serious about reparations, but he is having to address it. Versus, a few weeks ago, a few months ago, he was the main one. Not like you had Kamala Harris talking about reparations, no. And then you had, a few other ones, Andrew Yang talking about, okay, maybe with this little bullshit, $1,000. Elizabeth Warren said no, but Joe Biden wouldn't even talk about it. Now Biden is going around talking about, well, maybe we can do a study. Let's get a little deeper into this article. He's committing to a study. But if you look deeper into this article, I want to point to right here. He said it would depend on what it was and will it include Native Americans as well. That's something that we got to watch out for, black people. Them talking about is it going to include Indians? And we as a people, we can't be going around co-signing anything with the Indians. Let's talk about that for a second. First of all, we know the Native Americans, most of them, especially the ones on the East Coast and down south, were black, dark skinned. Whether you're talking about the Choctaw, the Algonquin, the Seneca, over here in California, the Mojave, the Folsom. Oh, we've been over here forever. Black folks have been over here forever. But during the 1800s, your black natives were reclassified as Negro. It was like either classify yourself as Negro or we're going to kill your ass. And then they came out with the Dawes rolls and put a whole bunch of white people on the Native American rolls. So when Joe Biden goes around talking about it will include Native Americans, what he means is white people. He ain't talking about the ones, with the dark skin. He ain't talking about the ones who don't have casino. He ain't talking about them. He talking about these fake ass Cherokees, these fake ass Seminoles, these fake ass Choctaw. And that's not to say people aren't real, because the Seminoles were a real tribe. The Seminoles were an amalgamation of the Gullah, the Geechee, escaped slaves from Georgia, because Georgia was just a territory back then. They would go down out of South Carolina. They created Georgia to stop niggas from getting into Florida. And in Florida is where the Gullah Geechee settled and fought them Seminole Wars, kicking Andrew Jackson's ass in them fights. Andrew Jackson had to do punk ass shit like in the Battle of Fort Negro, sending all the soldiers off to one proxy war to get a few of his men slaughtered, while the rest of his men come in and rape all the women and children. That's kind of shit Andrew Jackson did to win that war. But still, they didn't even win. They had to go buy Florida from Spain. And that's how they got it. And then what they did after that, they spent the 1800s basically, if you was white and you had $5, you can now become a Native American. And if you was black, you had to now identify as Negro, or you can get this bullet. So we as black people, we know that whole Native American thing is a trick bag. You right, David Banner, pretendians. You right, Smokey D's $5 Indians. What's up, Brian Patton in the chat room? Yeah, Aaron, you said it right in the chat. Elizabeth Warren that means Elizabeth Warren is gonna get reparations. Elizabeth Warren identified as Native American and get into college. You want to share reparations with her? Fuck and no. Joe Biden. But we're talking tonight about the crumbling of white supremacy. What's the main way to crumble white supremacy? I'm going to give you what I think. It's just my opinion. Y'all can tell me yours. You know, like Nitty Fuller said, we all got a way to express our, our way of seeing things. But to me, how I see it is white supremacy can only exist with a black inferiority complex. Let me say that again. White supremacy can only exist when we as black people feel, think, and act inferior. When we bend over, like the baby boomers taught us. Just go ahead and get yourself a good job. Don't make no hay. You gonna be all right. Yeah, there's a whole lot of niggas that did that are in 6 feet under right now at the hands of the police or somebody like a damn George Zimmerman. You can't hide from this shit, but then damn baby boomers taught us to. And this because they were miseducated like we've been miseducated. That takes me to something that Dr. John Henry Clark used to say. Very important quote. Hold on right here. I'm trying to pull it up. No, that ain't what I want. Here it is. This is what I want. To control the people, you must first control what they think about themselves, how they regard their history and culture. And when your conqueror makes you ashamed of your culture and your history, he needs no prison walls and chains to hold you in. This is real true when it comes to us as a people. And this has been the linchpin in holding this system together. Our compliance as a people. We've been educated to feel like we're inferior. Carter G. Woodson talks about it. If you ever get that book, Miseducation of the Negro, he talks about this. We as a people have lost our way because we don't know who we are. And we don't feel like we're worthy. So when you don't feel like shit, you say things like, vote blue no matter who. Who you gonna vote for? Who's gonna be our president? Who's gonna lead us? Nigga, nobody in the White House is gonna lead you. You ain't figured that shit out. But they'll argue up and down talking about we need somebody to get us out of our situation. Look, the reason why people like me feel like this way is because we did believe that shit at one time. I used to be the VOTEP in this ass nigga on earth. If you knew me in 2005, if somebody black got shot, I'd be like, well, we need to get out and vote. See, we got that Bush in office, and Bush is the worst thing ever. That Bush too, he done started the Patriot Act. If we just get out and vote, we'd be all right. Another nigga gets shot. See, if we just voted, oh man, you read something in the paper, black people losing their homes. See, we just need to get out and vote. Then we did that shit. We got President Obama. Got him in the White House. Yep, we got him. He's our president. Let's just wait till his second term. Let's get out and vote. Wait till his second term. In the second term, that nigga gonna come through. President Obama's 2 terms in office is like LeBron James's first term in Cleveland. All the dunks, all the fanfare, all the greatness you could ever desire. But the nigga couldn't bring home that ring. Only thing is President Obama didn't have a Dwayne Wade to help him out. He didn't do shit. At least LeBron James went on ahead to somebody else that can help him and then brought that information back and won a champ. President Obama, he out of office and still ain't doing shit. You saw that bullshit ass speech he gave us last week? That speech wasn't shit. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Let's get back to what we were talking about. Defeating white supremacy through black knowledge of self. No Smokey D's. That's not hate in LBJ. That's the fucking truth. All right? Back to what I was saying when it comes to reparations. What's up, Carl? In the chat room. You're right. That's a good suggestion. Start finding these companies like NFL finds players. Because we do. We got to start finding these companies. And we can start finding these companies that profited from slavery. Chase Bank, JP Morgan, AIG Insurance. Did you know AIG Insurance got started during the slave trade? Insuring the stock, make it across the Atlantic Ocean, and whoever jumped or got killed, they were insured and bonded by AIG. No, Smokey Robinson, it isn't my truth. It's a fact. LeBron James did not win the first time around in Cleveland. That's not my truth. That's what happened. Back to what I'm talking about. Fake ass hashtags do not cut it. You right, Carl. Brooks Brothers, you right. Anthony Smith in the chat room. John Jones says, y'all act like Obama was supposed to go to your house and clean the house or something, and just the black people. No, see, and I'm glad John Jones said that, because that's one thing the VOTEPs do. The Obama, let me get on these Obama supporters real quick. They don't ever deal with anything you actually said. They don't talk about anything within the context of the Constitution, in the context of the powers of the presidency and his executive order powers and his ability to use his Department of Justice to punish those that get in his way. They don't talk about Obama in that context. They go right to, man, you just wanted Obama to do 2 black flips and eat some ice cream with Chuck E. Cheese. The VOTEPs go into, President Obama ain't the president of all black people. He's the president of all people. While gay people got to go ahead and get their license to marry under Obama. And I ain't mad at that, but let's go back to 2006. That shit seemed goddamn impossible in 2006 when you said 2 dudes can get married. If you said that shit to somebody in 2006, they'd have been like, nigga, yeah, right. Come hell or high water, ain't no way in hell 2 gay people gonna be able to get married in the United States of America. 4 years later, you got Tom and Tom walking down the aisleway to the president you said can't give specific benefits to any one individual. So tell the truth, John Jones, and all of you VOTEP Obama supporters. Let's keep this shit within the context of the presidency. The president of the United States came up with something called the DREAM Act to get more immigrants here to the United States of America, a plan. That's what presidents do. That's what politicians do. Their job is to push legislation. And when I say I wanted Obama to do more, I'm not saying I wanted him to go ahead and give every black person to kick all white people out of Beverly Hills and move us in. That's not what I want. All we wanted under President Obama was when somebody killed a Trayvon Martin, a Tamir Rice, and a Kai Gurley, or somebody like that they go to jail. Can the president make sure that happened? Yes. President Bush #1 did. President Bush #1, a Republican, after Rodney King got beat, sent the Department of Justice down here to LA to investigate the LAPD, which took away that stupid ass crash unit that was killing us. And you know what else it did? It brought down the LAPD in the Rampart scandal because a Republican president pushed justice for black people. So you mean tell me the black president couldn't? Obama lover? Let's tell the truth, people, now. Don't get into all this. Politicians work for us, not the other way around. These motherfuckers are not to be worshipped. They're to be commanded and told what to do. You're right. Dr. Clyde Anderson got 3 federal judges named in 1 year. President Obama couldn't get a black man on the Supreme Court or a black woman, but he got 2 people who work for Goldman Sachs on that motherfucker, and you wonder why it's legal for you to get a $40 overdraft fee. Let's tell the truth. Yes, it does matter because you know what? People, you're right, John Jones, people do have things to say. That's part of politics. It's our job to question the people that we elect, especially when you vote for them. And if you're not questioning the people that you vote for, why the fuck are you voting? Excuse my language, all right? Back to what we were talking about. We as people have power. Here, I'm going to show some proof of the power we have as a people. Let me go ahead and change the screen on over to, look at this. Kentucky governor outlines plan to provide health coverage for 100% of black communities. This is what exercising your power looks like, people. The people took to the streets. America's a fictional place. No, John Jones, I'm not going to run. That's a cop-out you Votep Obama lovers like to go to. It's only one chief. It's the rest of us to hold that chief accountable to his word. I don't want to be the chief. I don't want to be the leader. People don't have a good reputation of holding the honor of their leaders. I don't want that. I don't want that responsibility. My job is to hold the leaders I elect responsible to do their job and to do the bidding that I want. That's your job as a voter, John Jones, not to run. But to what I was saying. Sorry about that, folks. Kentucky governor outlines plan to provide health coverage for 100% of black communities. Back to what I was saying, this is what winning looks like. Black people, make no mistake about it, we've gotten more tangibles and more attention in this last 3 weeks than we've gotten in 60 years of voting. While Obama supporters are running around saying, what can we do? He ain't the president of black people. The rest of the country is getting specific tangible benefits for their group. Now the Kentucky governor is talking about giving reparations in the form of medical coverage to black citizens. We all know that black people were the most impacted by the COVID virus. And the primary reason was because of our inadequate access to health care. Here in Kentucky, the bluegrass state, they talking about doing something about that. So you mean to tell me John Jones, this white governor in Kentucky, can do more specifically for black people than the president of the United States? Ooh, these Obama supporters get mad. Kentucky statistics show African Americans make up 16.5% of the United States COVID-19 deaths, but only 8.4% of Kentucky's population, according to census data. So Kentucky said, you know what, black people, we heard you. We gonna put something up on it just for you. That wasn't the only story of the week. There's also this story right here. Governor Cuomo backs bill criminalizing false reports based on race after viral Amy Cooper video. That's another point I want to bring out. We need to stop making sure the news keep making this only about George Floyd. It's in part about George Floyd, but there are a whole lot of things that's going into George Floyd. What's going on? There's a lot of momentum. There's been a lot of things going on to black people. You know, going back to Trayvon Martin, under President Obama, Walter Scott, Philando Castile. Shall I keep going? Of all the black people who died under President Obama, and he didn't do anything about. The fact that Obama didn't do shit is what's leading into what's going on right now, this current revolution. The 20-year-olds were 8 when Obama was in office, and they were told, we got a black president, and everything gonna be all right. And those 8-year-olds lived in the house when their mama was telling them that. Then the Great Recession hit. Then they started living in an apartment under President Obama. Eric Gardner, Amir Davari, choked out. And those same people who once lived in a house now live in an apartment. The economy is getting worse. We got a black president. It's going to be okay. Then they started getting ready for college, and they said, oh, here come President Trump. He's going to be the worst thing ever. And those kids was thinking, hell, when I was 6, we was in a house. Now we in a 2-bedroom apartment, and there's 6 of us. He can't be that goddamn bad. And they decided to take to the streets and do what they're doing right now and get justice. And these young motherfuckers are getting more justice for us than we've gotten in the last 60 years of voting. John Jones in the chat room. If you want to know what President Obama could have done, I recommend you take a civics class and find out some of the things he can do with his Department of Justice when he see things that aren't right, using them to investigate and bring criminal charges on district attorneys, police chiefs, and police officers who don't act right. That's something the president can do. You're listening to Hotep-ish, hotepish.com. You're right, David Banner. That's why Negroes are mad. They're calling people dummies, and they're doing that as I give them examples of what governors, people with less power than the president, are pushing for black people. But he's asking me what can be done. Well, maybe he can do what other people are doing. Huh? Thought about that? Or maybe he can do what he did for other groups. Back to the stories. What was I saying? Here's what racism is. People think, like, okay, what is racism? People be thinking racism is white people not liking us and them not treating us right and them being mean to us. No, nigga, no, nigga, no. That's not what racism is. That's prejudice. That's bigotry. Racism is a practice. It's a system. It's a system that knocks us out economically. What does racism look like? People always say, okay, support black-owned black businesses. And for the most part, black people do support black businesses. The problem is people who aren't black don't support black businesses. Want me to say that again? The problem is people who aren't black don't support black businesses. Well, how don't they support them? On one hand, they don't shop at black businesses on the front end. Your major retailers don't generally like to stock black-owned products. You know, it takes a damn war from hell to get them to support our businesses and put us in their stores. Black people, businesses aren't supported because they don't get the same interest rates. They don't get a lot of the tangible benefits that other businesses get. Black people we've been put under economic sanction in America. No different than Cuba, no different than Haiti, Zimbabwe, Africa, the continent, especially sub-Saharan Africa. We've been put under economic sanction. If you want to keep a group poor and subjugated, you give them a few donations here and there, but you don't invest in them. You don't put money behind them. You don't include them economically. So what's another win that we've gotten here in this last week of not voting and taking it to the streets? Uber Eats waives fees for Black-owned restaurants. This is another form of reparations. A lot of people say rioting does nothing. What do you expect to gain by burning things down? What do you expect to get? Uber Eats said for Black-owned restaurants, they're going to waive fees. Why is this big? Black-owned restaurants, just like other all Black-owned businesses, are really under economic sanctions. They pay more for interest rates. They pay more in interest rates. They pay more for their raw materials. Everything costs more. So it makes it harder for Black-owned businesses to stay in business. Let me give you an example. I used to work at Washington Mutual Bank in Inglewood, California. Washington Mutual is now Chase Bank, but for those who remember, Washington Mutual is really big on the West Coast. One of the biggest banks on the West Coast in the early 2000s. I was a business banking manager. It was my job to secure the business loans for the Inglewood branch. Mind you, I'm in the Inglewood branch, and this is long before gentrification. This is when Inglewood was black. Y'all know what I'm talking about, Manchester and Locust. Y'all know what I'm talking about back when the bus stop was still on Market Street and you had to dodge bullets to make it home from school on time. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All the niggas that went to Westchester High School wearing their Jordans, looking pretty. The minute that Manchester bus crossed Sepulveda, you took them Jordans off and put on them Chucks. And you better not be in no blue Chucks either, because that was a red neighborhood. That Inglewood. When I worked in that Inglewood, you know how many loans in 2 years that we lent out to Black-owned businesses? Now, mind you, up and down Market Street, up and down Manchester, right there where Bruno's is. Bruno's was the only non-Black-owned business. Everything else on that road, Black-owned. Miss Ruby's Diner, the record shop that was there. You know how many dollars in loans I gave out? 0. Now, the Cuban food spot, they got some money from us that was around the corner. The Peruvian spot got some money from us around the corner. Some of those Korean-owned shops got little small lines of credit. Most of them went to their own banks, but they would come to us to get lines of credit. Not $1 lent to Black people. So Uber's doing the little that they can do. They can't do much, but they can do a little bit. They're promoting Black-owned businesses and making it easier for people to support them by waiving delivery fees. Good job, Uber. But one thing I want to point out about this whole thing, and I'm Dave Banner in the chat room, I know you saw this. When that was announced by Uber, if you go to their Twitter, it was a whole bunch of racist, nasty ass comments about Black people. For the most part, not white people. From a lot of our so-called allies out there in the streets. They had nothing but bad things to say about Black people getting something. Let's go back and let's hold on. We about to take a look at some of this shit. Let's take a look at some of these comments people is making on Uber Eats. You also got wet-owned restaurants in the air. Uber Eats. Are you completely, totally insane? Harsha Patil. Somebody who comes from a land that they shit next to the dinner tables. Slumdog Harsha says, this is even more discriminatory than a discriminatory thing anyone can do. Support everyone who's a good person. Hold on. Y'all don't even like the damn Dravidians down there in India. That's why. That's the thing. India, people, places like that, they got. I'm assuming. I don't know where she's from. Hell yeah, I'm assuming. She being racist. Fuck. Oh, look, I'm right. Look, you see her profile? India. I was right. Ha ha ha. I knew it. Because when it comes to colorism, when it comes to that caste system, nobody does it worse than India. They've been fucking with them Dravidians for how long? That's where Kamala Harris's people are from, by the way. But I digress. You're right about that, Mila. We got dumbass people making dumbass comments. This is reparations here. This is what reparations just means. Repair was denied to us. Black people ain't out here trying to get anything that we didn't already earn. But in other news, I don't want to spend too much time on the dumbasses because they're going to say what they're going to say, and we're going to push forward anyway. This isn't about making people comfortable. This is about receiving the tangible benefits that we've invested and sown into this land. Sephora signs 15% pledge to carry more Black-owned brands. Another benefit from these riots that the coons were saying, don't burn nothing down now. We's gonna get the John Lewises. We needs to get in good troubles. Good trouble ain't got us shit. But 3 weeks of political pressure. 15% pledge to carry Black-owned brands. Look, black people, all white people ain't racist. Racism is a system. And it's supported through its economy. The way to crumble the system on top of black people knowing ourselves more and learning ourselves more and knowing who we are is economic inclusion. This needs to be the norm. We need to get comfortable with this. I see a lot of black people who are afraid. They're saying, well, I don't know what they're doing now. I don't trust when white people are giving us something. Look, yeah, it might be some shit. It might be some shit they got up their sleeves, but we should be ready for that. Take advantage of what we get, and we know a counter move is coming. That's why when you play basketball, you work on your left and your right hand. That's why once you learn a crossover, you learn a counter to that crossover. Then you learn how to pivot. Then you learn how to shoot well from 10 feet, then 15 feet, then 20 feet, then 25 feet. You diversify your game because the defense is always going to have something for your ass. You can guarantee that. They're going to have something for us. Just because they have something for us don't mean we can't won't ram around that shit and win anyway. You're right, Dave Bennett. It's too much of that old spirit of John Lewis out there. I took a good ass whooping. I took a great ass whooping. You're right, brother Jermaine. You got to come in with that Steph Curry range. People talk shit about Steph Curry shooting too far out. Hell, the reason why he had to shoot that far out, because the defense was too good when he got too close to the basket. So that nigga had to expand his range. And that's what we got to do as black people. We know this shit when it comes to football. We know if they stop it and run to go to the pass. We know to run that way. We know when to throw them West Coast offenses, short slant passes. And then when they come out in the cover two and cover those routes, go deep. We know this shit when it comes to sports. But when it comes to racism, we always want to cry and complain. Well, they just better than us now. Stop it. Expand the range, Carl. You're right about that. Expand the range. Like we always said, it's not a personal fight about me and that person. It's a system. And we defeat the system by empowering ourselves. You can empower yourselves every day of the week. You don't need to wait on every 4 years to vote for empowerment. You're right, Cedrick. We keep these corporations. Keep them closed. Buy them out when they go bankrupt. I like that strategy, Cedrick, in the chat room. I didn't even think about that. That's a good one. Back to who qualifies. Who qualifies for reparations? Who qualifies? Simple. This isn't anything to discriminate against others. This isn't to cause any division between our African brothers and sisters across the diaspora, whether it be from the Caribbean, South America, or Africa. We love you guys. But this is business. Reparations starts with the first people who were harmed. And then it expands. This is something that goes back to 1619. And it goes back to what we were talking about also earlier when Joe Biden said include Native Americans in reparations. No. This goes to foundational Black Americans. Some people say ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves. Some people say descendants of American slaves. I ain't getting into none of that hodgepodge with you niggas. Basically, what it comes down to, if you can trace your lineage back to slavery, you qualify. I got one even better. If you can trace your lineage just back to the 1800s. In the Immigration Act of 1871, 72, one of those two fucking years, the policy towards Africa and the Caribbean was zero net. There were some people from the diaspora that came, but not enough to really count because they didn't let them over here. So if you can go back and find a great-grandparent or great-great-grandparent that was born in the United States, you can find their birth certificate, a driver's license, a deed, you have a marriage certificate, a census report, any ancestor, direct lineage that classified themselves as Negro at that time, and you now in 2020 or moving forward classify yourself as Black, you get it. And don't tell them some shit about we don't know who is who. Yes, the fuck they do. The majority of non-foundational Black American immigrants didn't start coming here until after 1980. The Immigration Act of 1965 allowed them to come over. They started letting some over as students in the 70s, but they really opened up the floodgates during the 80s, allowing brothers and sisters from the Caribbean and Africa to come over. I love y'all. I really do. And you can help us by getting reparations for foundational Black Americans, ADLS, or however the fuck you want to say it. Because one thing about us as Black people, every time we win, we share. We always do. We ain't selfish. And when we win, the rest of the world wins. You gonna get yours from Nigeria. England know y'all a lot. France owes Mali in the Caribbean. Y'all owe by France and England and them places. Y'all owe everything y'all deserve. And we'll help you. But after we get ours, homie, we got to start with home first. We have to start with home first. So what's the summation? Why am I talking all this shit? When we see these people doing all this talking about what they want to do for black people and black people this and black people that, make sure that they don't allow in that trick bag language like Indians and minorities, and because minority means not black, not white, right? And what they do is every time we allow them to slip in another group, the other group gets all the money. We took all the ass whoopings and we don't get shit. You're right, Mila and chat room. We need to be selfish. We do need to be selfish. Voting is a selfish act. Nike joins the companies making Juneteenth an annual paid holiday. It's a token gesture, Nike, but I'll take it. What Nike needs to do is start putting money behind these STEM programs in black schools. What they need to do is start coming up off that money and investing in black businesses, black-owned shoe stores. Black people made Nike hot. Michael Jordan, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders. We can go down the list all the way through LeBron James now. Black people made Nike hot. So demanding Nike open up its coffers and supply black-owned sneaker shops with an advance, not an advance, with this first round of shoes, the same way a lot of these companies supply people from India and these other places with 7-Elevens and liquor stores that are fully stocked that they didn't have to pay for. Nike can create some black-owned shoe stores. Not create, when a black person opens up a shoe store, Nike can go ahead and stock that store up right away. That's reparations. That's part of reparations. Because we got to remember, reparations is a Marshall Plan. This isn't no one-time thing. We get a payment and we out. No, this is a Marshall Plan. We need to learn. We need to have our businesses, and we also need reparations in the financial sector. We need Goldman Sachs. We need Chase and JP Morgan and all these other investment companies to open up the doors to black money managers. Teach us how to grow this shit to these international corporations the way they taught Japan after World War II. No, Jeff, I haven't seen those letters yet, man. I gotta take a look at them. I've seen you sent them. I gotta read some of those. Jeff Brown in the chat room. I love your show. I love your show when you and Zoe were talking. I gotta have you back on here, Jeff, very soon. But back to what we were talking about. You're right about that in the chat room, Aaron. How are we supposed to help anyone before we get ours? In the plane, they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first. You're right about that. Adidas, we made y'all hot, from Jesse Owens to James Harden. We the reason why y'all hot. Y'all need to be coming up off these benefits too. You're right about that, Jeff. Nike should give away all clearance stock to us for the next 50 years. You fucking right about that. Wouldn't cost them nothing. We still gonna sell the shoes. Shit. That's reparations. But how do you crumble white supremacy before we get up out of here? Hotepish.com. It starts with us building ourselves and growing as individuals, building our families, building businesses, becoming economically independent from the system. That's something that we can do for ourselves. We can know ourselves. We can love ourselves. We can train the next generation on what white supremacy is and how to avoid it. Don't do what our grandparents and our parents did, basically telling us to ignore it and get a job. No, we got to teach these little youngsters coming up directly, straight up, what it is. And that's why I have my show, The Breakthrough Hour. We'll be starting our first episode tomorrow. I have a guest coming in. Where I have my next podcast, The Breakthrough Hour. And sign breakthroughas.org, the website. Go to the Facebook page, Breakthrough AS on Facebook, and sign up for it. I'll be having a special guest on tomorrow. Well, with the Breakthrough Hour, we'll be having Black parents and people come on that work with Black children, discuss and talk about tools and things they've done to help the children grow. So tomorrow we have a parent coming on, and she's going to talk about how she uses art and how she used art to bond with her daughter. And we're going to be talking about things like that on that show. We're going to have lawyers to teach you about the school system. We're going to have psychologists. We're going to have medical experts. We're going to have everybody, because it's going to be a place for people with children to come together and learn from other parents with Black children on the best way of navigating this bullshit ass system and getting the best kids out. So I'm not only talking about this shit, I'm being about it. That's what I like to do. That's what I do. We all got our part. Thank you, Brother Jermaine, down in the chat room. Brother Jermaine hooked me in with Brother Obi. We got Cuba on deck, trying to get Cuba into our prison system still to fight this COVID-19. It's going to be a second wave, so we need to keep pushing for that. Check out that episode on Hotepish page with Obi and the Cuban doctors. Check out that episode. Check out Jeff Brown. He was on a few months ago, but I'm going to have you back on again, brother. We're about to conclude tonight, but that's basically what I wanted to say tonight. Thank you for listening in the chat room. Thank y'all for discussing this with me, for talking with us. And we gonna build on this shit more. This ain't the only time. I'm gonna do more of these, but I'm gonna do a lot of these shits in the daytime now when more people are online, and we're gonna build and talk about this. So remember this as people. As we build ourselves, as we solve our individual problems, that's how we solve white supremacy. Nobody can be supreme over a group that's not willing to be subjugated. And remember this, we don't need everybody. We only need a critical mass. Critical mass is 10%. We don't need everybody. It wasn't everybody out in the streets. But look at all this movement that's happened in the last 3 weeks. You only need a critical mass. Stop worrying about, oh, Boom Quisha probably ain't going to make it. Let's just tell the truth. The main people talking about we need to come together, Black folks ain't never going to get reparations, are the same people on welfare. All right? They don't want, in their mind, they already getting their reparations. Section 8. Don't argue with them. Leave them alone. And just get together with those of a like mind and keep pushing. If we keep pushing, if we make this a single agenda, one issue, one goal, reparations, in every form possible. As I say every form, I mean every form. We do that, we ain't going to be having the same conversation in 10 years. My name is DeJuan Brown. Remember this. There are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages for those who are willing to listen. Go to hotepish.com, breakthroughas.org. Listen to the Breakthrough Hour tomorrow as we start to solve the problems of the Black parent today. I'm out.